He didn't follow any of the sessions right from the start. Everything was great, even the wedding. It was 3 years later. It was fun for us to be together. I had fun. We left that. I got married. I said, now he's studying. Now it will be my opportunity to study. Then I got pregnant with Lulu. I had a wonderful pregnancy. Was this a perfect pregnancy at the time of delivery? He didn't follow any of the sessions right from the start, and everything was great right from the beginning. It was 3 years, and it was fun for us to get married. I had a great time, and then I got pregnant. I had Lulu, and it was a wonderful pregnancy. It was a perfect pregnancy at the time of delivery. However, at the moment of her birth, she entered what they call suffering fetal rite in less than 12 hours. It was very serious because her neurological part was very affected, so much that she had cerebral palsy. Because of this, she never walked like this. It was never a father who was with me because he needed to work on himself. She was in the hospital for less than 12 hours before going into labor. It was a very serious situation because her neurological development was severely affected, and she ended up with cerebral palsy. She was only 12 hours old when this happened, and now she's 22 years old. She never walked like this. Her dad was always there for me, helping out as much as he could. He was the provider, I was the worker. I stopped working in 2009. He was always showing signs that she would be like me, and as a companion, he also helped out a little at home while I worked outside. I took care of Louisa. I think Louie was about 2 or 3 years old. My sister lived in Bahia, and there is this Sarah. At the beginning, it was great. We were so excited about the pregnancy, and Augusto was planned. But then Augusto came along and everything changed. He was so proud of being a provider, but I was the one working. I stopped working in 2009. He gave me signs that he wanted me to be his partner, and I thought, why not? I was happy to help out at home, and I worked outside. I took care of Louisa. I think Louie was about 2 or 3 years old. My sister lived in Bahia, and there was this Sarah. I went to the Cuban Institute, and my sister said, if you want to stay, we can get a place for Louie here. I thought, why not? I was no longer happy at the wedding. I had already thought that by 2004. I thought, let's go back to 2004. I worked for myself. I didn't want him to go with me, but I understood that it just wasn't meant to be. I came back right then and continued on with life, even though it wasn't easy being alone. I saw myself thinking, how will I be alone taking care of Louie? And then you go. You keep thinking and time passes. Then I had the pregnancy with Augusto. It was a cool moment between us, but with the arrival of Augusto, it also made me realize that things weren't as easy as they seemed. I didn't want him to go with me, but I understood that it didn't work out. I came back right then and continued living, even though it wasn't easy being alone. Then I saw myself thinking, I'll be alone, taking care of Louie, all by myself, and then you'll go. I kept thinking, time is passing, and Augusto was a planned pregnancy, a cool moment between us, but with the arrival of Augusto, it also became difficult. I always thought, Augusto will grow and pass, and I'm not afraid that will happen again because it wasn't genetic or congenital. Augusto was always very muscular, very strict, and always nervous. He has some memories of his father beating him. It's a lot of things, right? He has some memories like that. It was really tough because there were 2 kids involved. But I always had this thought, Augusto would grow up and move on, and I wasn't afraid that it would happen again because it wasn't genetic or congenital. Augusto was always super fit, very strict, and always stressed out in Ribeiro. He has some memories of his dad beating him, and his dad was a lot of things, but he was cool. Then, after we left Ribeiro, we came back and settled in Polinia. He started a company when he moved there. Everything fell into place, and it was a really cool company. I liked the products, and I want to work with him. I was only spending money, and I didn't always miss school. I talked to employees, and sometimes I find comments about how he left. After we left Ribeiro, we went back to where we were living. I was living with Pauline when she started the company. Everything was working out really well. It was a great company and I liked the products. I worked with him, putting in all my effort, but I didn't always respect the employees. I told him that I didn't think it was right, but he didn't listen to me. I had my name on the company because I was married to him, but I didn't have any financial power. I didn't have any autonomy. Everything depended on him buying an apple. I had to ask him for money, and he gave it to me. I was really disappointed that the company didn't show any respect for the professional as a person. I said that I didn't accept their opinion, and I had my name there because I didn't have it to sign because I was married to him. I was talking about how I had some voice there, but never financially. So, I didn't have autonomy. Everything depended on him buying an apple. I had to ask him for money, and he gave me the money for the week, and then I was gone. I bought things, but I could never have done it on my own. I never had to. Not always, not right, and even for my children, who wiggled and made things to get them to do something different. That was the moment I said that I didn't want to go through so much more because life is very short. I said no, I don't want that anymore because I was really struggling with it, and I bought things, but it just didn't work for me. I couldn't do it, not always, not right. Even for my kids, who were so playful and full of energy. But then, in 2018, I found out that I had cancer. I went through treatment in 2019, and then came the pandemic in 2020. I said, not my God. Another year. I don't know what to do. I was already stuck for a year, and then the pandemic hit, and he said, forgiveness is not the way. We sit on the table like this, facing horrible things. It happened the way he talked, and he left. In 2018, I was diagnosed with cancer. I underwent treatment in 2019, and then came the pandemic in 2020. I thought, not this year, God. I don't want to do nothing. I was already stuck for a year, and then the pandemic hit, and it was like he didn't want to forgive me anymore. We were sitting on the table, and he left, leaving me and Augusto to deal with it. I understood what he was talking about, and then I said, I don't want. There was a day when I said I was tired, and then he did something. When we discussed fighting, he simply went to the company, and I slept there. One day, I caught the pandemic, and he was there. I caught him and said, you're alone there. I'm going there. I think it was in March or April 2020. I sat down with Augusto at the table and we both started crying. I told him how I felt and he seemed to understand. But then I said I didn't want to be with him anymore. One day I said I was tired and he asked me to go to his company. I did and he was there. I caught the pandemic there and I said, you're alone here. I'm going. I think it was in March or April of 2020. When I arrived, I told him that I didn't want to be with him anymore. I said I was tired and that I didn't like him more than I didn't like him. I took a long time to say everything I felt, and then he didn't agree with me. It was as if the pandemic was going to separate us because we didn't have much money. I don't know what I said. We'll take it because the financial situation wasn't easy and everything was closed. I said so. I told him that I didn't want that anymore. I was tired, and I didn't like him as much as I used to. I had been feeling this way for a long time. I said everything I felt, and then he didn't want to be with me anymore. I thought it was because of the pandemic, but I'm not sure. It wasn't easy because we didn't have a lot of money. I said, we'll take it, but you'll stay at home with me. We'll just be friends, right? I didn't think of him as a friend, and then we were taking something like that. He respected that in the sense. He didn't want any kind of relationship, including a sexual one. It was difficult. There was 2020, 2021, and I couldn't stand it anymore because I thought I was going to explode. I didn't want to. I really missed that person in my life. I thought about reaching out to him at the end of 2021, but I hesitated. I thought, what if he's not interested in a relationship right now? But then, on the night of December 31st, he came to visit me. I was so grateful, and I told him we should talk more often. I really wanted that person in my life. I wanted to sit and talk to him at the end of 2021, and I thought that 2022 would be the year we'd find a way. It was on the night of December 31st, the night of the first day of the new year at dawn, that he came to speak to me. I got it and said, "You still want to have a DR on the first day of the year, right?" He said, "I just want you to answer a question. I really don't want to be with me anymore." I said, "No, there you go." On the next day, we still went to some friends, and then I said, "So okay, we'll go separate ways." A few days later, he came with the story he wanted. He thought of a way for us to get to the United States. He said he wanted to lead a better life with children, and I was playing the company that he was going to pass me everything and stay there, helping me as well. I thought the idea was great, but I said no because I thought if he stayed here, he wouldn't give me age. He said he didn't want to be with me anymore, but I said no. He said okay, and we still went to some friends like this. Then I said, "So okay, we'll go separate ways," and it was after a few days that he came with the story he wanted. He thought of a better life for me, with children, and I was playing the company here that he was going to pass me everything and stay there, sincerely helping me as well. Right at that moment, I found it cool. I thought it would be great to have a better life with children, and I was playing with the idea of him leaving the company and staying with me. I was honestly feeling pretty good about it. But then he said he didn't want to leave the company, and he had debts. He wanted to send money and live somewhere else. It was a bit crazy, but I liked the idea of paying something and buying something. I was a bit scared, but I decided to go for it. It was a very strange feeling, and Irani was very calm. He was on the other side. "I'm so happy to be here with you." I didn't expect such a wonderful surprise. When I went to see him, I found out he was struggling with debt. It was a bit of a shock, but I was determined to help. I was so scared, but I decided to take a leap of faith and buy something for myself. It was a really horrible feeling, but I'm glad I did it. I told Irani, "You're doing great, and I'm so proud of you." He's on the other side of the world, but I'm here for him. Sometimes I speak to people like this. I did this because he also made me feel small. I wish I had returned to study, but I'm happy I got R2,000. It was my R2,000, and I used it to prune. Now that I'm starting, it's been a year and a half. We broke up, and he's no longer with me. I feel like I'm finally moving on. I'm starting to feel more connected to Irani, and I'm really enjoying this journey. I'm going to make this happen in my own home. I want the cup to be like this, and I'm working on myself and doing things that I enjoy. I'm going to connect with the Iran I like, the laugh, and the things I believe in. I'm connecting with Irani there. I'm really talking about not me. I like to do this, and I'll make it happen in my house. It's like that because I want the cup to be like this. If I see it, I took almost 20 years to separate from it. Now I'm working right, doing things, and it's what I mean. I'm connecting myself right with the Iran I like, what I believe, the laugh that sometimes even me. So even we laughed, and Augusto, I implied you know that we were silly. Wow, because you were laughing there. I hate Fausto, let it watch. Fausto leaves me in relation. He was a relief, right, that bad. I didn't have that attitude before, but like me, I said everything has its time. So I really didn't feel the need to miss him. I start from feeling very angry. His pity, and today I don't feel anything.